Okay, so this tutorial is going to show you how to do some basic modeling in this software called Sculptris. And it's a 3D modeling software. It's pretty powerful. It's a sort of like a limited version of this software called ZBrush, which is pretty amazing. It's the software they've used to create character models for the movie Avatar, and it's pretty powerful, professional level stuff. This is a free version of the software that lets you do quite a bit, but not everything you can with the full version. So what we're going to do is we've got the program launched up, and you start off with this sphere here, this basic sphere. And let's turn off quick help here. Don't think I'll need that. And you got your different tools over here, and you got the sphere. And if I just start clicking and drawing here, you can see I've got these two kind of symmetrical things appearing out of here. And since I'm doing a screen capture, it's running kind of herky-jerky, but it actually runs pretty nice on most computers. So I'm going to undo that, and you can see I've got lines of symmetry going on, which is something I'm going to want to create like a symmetrical character. I'm going to make like a lizard kind of monsterish creature, and if I wanted it to be non-symmetrical, I can go in here and I can click symmetry and turn this off. It says it's a one-way operation. Now you can see I'm just drawing, and it doesn't have 2 points of symmetry. It's just all on the one side. I got to turn it back on. It's going to remove asymmetric details, so it just made things symmetrical. So you can see that's a little bit tricky. Let's just leave symmetry on. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is use my draw tool, and I'm going to start making some kind of like ridges for the eyes. I'll start pulling out a bit of a nose, and actually I'm going to do the nose and the mouth kind of all like together, kind of ball it around, and I just kind of polish around. And you can see if I turn my view here, just click in the background space to rotate the view and pull around. It's pretty intuitive. I'm able to pull these things out pretty rapidly. Now I'm going to go over to my grab tool, which is G, and you can see I'm going to want to grab this snout and make it out to a long lizard snout, and my brush right now is this tiny little circle here. If I hold shift on the keyboard and scroll the ball on my mouse, you can see I can make it smaller, or I can make it larger, or I can grab my size up here, and I want to make the size pretty big so I can grab this whole area, and with the grab tool I can just pull what exists there. Pull that out, release, pull that out, release, pull that out, and up a little bit, and it kind of looks like a weird kind of bird beak. Maybe I'll pull it down a little bit, rotate, and pull it out even further. Okay, so that's a pretty good start to my little lizard creature. Now I want to make my brush smaller. Maybe not that small. I'm going to grab these ridges of these brows here and just kind of raise them up a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my draw tool, and I'm going to make that a smaller brush. I'm just going to give him some kind of spherical eyes here. I'm just going to clicking, tapping the mouse button, dragging it out. And you can see within a matter of seconds I've got this, pretty good start to this head kind of a creature. Now I'm going to go start pulling out more of his brow ridges over here and over here. Give him some nice texture to his head. And maybe I'll give him some little horns. So with that, I'm just going to draw. And I can turn the strength of my brush up here too, so everything happens like faster. Draw out some little horns, go back to my grab tool, and grab on that and just pull it up and out. So now I got this weird little creature, right? Now if I want to draw in and push in on an area, or say I've drawn too much, I can hold down Option, and Option actually reverses the drawing tool. So if I just don't hold Option, it will bulb things out. If I hold down Option, you can push things back. Right now the strength is set a bit too high for what I want, as is the size. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and Option click in here and cause some grooves into my creature, just so his head isn't so round. And you can see I want to get to see more of the bottom of my guy right now. I'm having trouble doing that. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and click in the gray area. Oop, just kidding. I'm going to hold down the Option key and click in the gray area, and that lets me click and drag and move things around, where without that it rotates, right? So I'm going to take a look at the bottom, carve some grooves into here, give them a little bit of texture, Option click here, and let's give him one long groove up the middle. Okay. And if I want to zoom in and zoom out, I simply just roll the scroll ball on the mouse, and you can see again I got something happening pretty nice. Now I'm going to zoom way in on his snout here, and I'm going to make my brush really small, and I'm going to option click and give him some nostrils. I'm polishing that in, and I'm going to make the size a little bit bigger, and I'm going to option click and give him a little bit of contour to the mouth. Separate the top from the bottom. Boy, this is running a little herky-jerky. The screen sharing really is limiting what's going on here quite a bit. Let me just make sure that's still functioning properly. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so thought I lost my screen sharing. Okay, so I should say screen capture. Here we go, polishing that in. Okay, I'm going to rotate in here, make the brush even smaller, and make the strength really high. Let's draw him out some teeth. Okay, and again, if I were to zoom in here, scroll ball's going really slow. You can see you can zoom in quite a ways and get a good amount of control of detail on here. So I'm starting off with the head of this creature, which I think is a reasonable thing to do. Let's see if we can give him one weird tooth. And I'm going to show you how to do the body here in just a minute. So I'm going to go to my grab tool. Let's hold shift. Remember, shift and drag the scroll ball is how you adjust the size of the brush. You click and drag that down. And that's a little scary looking. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Go back to my draw a little bit. Okay. Now, really, you can spend a ton of time doing all these tiny little details, and I messed up a couple parts here, but actually, that's one more thing I'll show you. Now that I've got these little mess-ups over here, I didn't want these extra nodules, so I'm going to use this tool called Smooth, and I'm going to make the brush smaller, shift and drag on the scroll ball on the mouse, and Smooth just sort of polishes things away instead of even surfaces off. And that is pretty useful, pretty powerful. You can see what happens if I were to just drag it over the teeth here. It generally just kind of polishes them away. I'm going to undo that because I actually like his teeth. And I'm going to keep zooming out. Option click and drag if I want to move the whole thing. Zoom in a little bit more and go back to my draw tool. Shortcut is D. And let's just give him a little more contour around the eyes. Okay, and if your computer is running as jerky as mine, it actually can become a little bit frustrating, but I'm confident that it'll probably work pretty good for most of my class. Okay, so now he's this creepy looking thing, and let's just maybe smooth some of that down just a little bit. Okay, so off to a pretty good start. Okay, I'm going to end part one at this point here. This gives you a general idea of how to just kind of mold a figure and use some of these basic tools here. I'm going to return in part two to show you how to create a body and start building off more and more onto this thing. And then we'll have another part where I show you how to start adding some texture and some color to it. Thanks for watching.